Imagine a place so dark and mysterious that even talking about it sends shivers down the spine. This place isn't from any horror movie or a storybook villain's lair. It's from the Bible itself. Known as the abyss or the bottomless pit, it's a realm of pure darkness, said to be a prison for demonic spirits and unimaginable evil. Today, let's delve into this chilling concept and see what it really means, not just for believers, but for anyone fascinated by the tales of ultimate battles between light and darkness. The abyss isn't just a simple pit. It's described as the holding cell for evil forces that have been contained for thousands of years. According to the Bible, particularly in the book of Revelation, this pit is so deep and devoid of light that it seems endless. It's here that beings beyond our wildest nightmares are kept, waiting for a prophesied moment to break free and ascend to the earth once more. Now, let's think about what it means to have such a place right under our feet. The Bible suggests that beneath the ground we walk on, beneath our cities, oceans, mountains, and plains, lies this chilling realm. It's a startling reminder of the layers of existence that might be hidden from our everyday sight, but are very much a part of the world's spiritual fabric. In this underworld, a key character is Abaddon the Destroyer, a fearsome entity waiting in the shadows. The imagery is powerful. A locked seal that, once broken, will unleash these forces upon the world. The sound of this unlocking is said to echo through the corridors of the underworld and resonate to the very core of existence, signaling the beginning of a cosmic event. As this seal breaks, the air itself is filled with a palpable sense of dread. This isn't just about opening a door, it's about the breaking of cosmic restraints. What has been held back for so long is about to be set free. The thought is enough to provoke fear, but also a deep curiosity about what lies beyond the realm of human visibility. This setting is not merely about fear. It serves as a reminder of an ongoing war, a spiritual battle that spans the breadth of history. This war isn't between nations or even worlds, but between the very forces of light and darkness, good and evil. The abyss serves as a stark symbol of this battle, holding the most vile elements until their inevitable release. According to biblical prophecy, the moment these forces are released will mark a significant turning point in history. The opening of the abyss is seen not just as an event, but as a pivotal moment that will change the course of history and eternity. It signifies the beginning of the end times, a period of tribulation and transformation. The Bible goes on to describe terrifying scenes following the opening of the abyss. Locusts with powers like scorpions emerging to torment those not protected by a divine seal. These aren't ordinary locusts, but creatures from the depths of the abyss, marking the earth's entry into a time of profound struggle and darkness. In discussing these events, it's important to remember the larger context. The Bible portrays history not as random occurrences, but as a deliberate divine narrative. Each event, no matter how catastrophic, fits into a larger, meticulously planned story laid out by God Almighty. This perspective offers both a warning and a message of hope. While great trials may come, they are part of a divine plan leading to a predetermined end. As we think about the abyss and its eventual opening, we are reminded of the dual nature of history and prophecy. It's a narrative of caution and revelation, asking us to reflect on the direction in which our world is heading. Understanding these themes helps us appreciate not just the biblical text, but also the profound ways in which it seeks to communicate the dynamics of good, evil, and human destiny. As we delve deeper into Revelation chapter 9, let's unpack it together, keeping things simple and focusing on what the text actually says. Starting off, John, the author of Revelation, throws us into a scene that's as cinematic as it is symbolic. He begins with, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit." Revelation 9, verse 1. Right away, we're introduced to a star, not a literal star, but likely an angelic being who comes down from heaven with a critical mission. This angel arrives with a key in hand, a key to the bottomless pit, an ominous place mentioned earlier in Revelation. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Revelation 9, verse 2. Imagine this scene. A lock turns, a pit opens, and out billows smoke so thick it blocks out the sun. It's not just a little haze. It's a darkness that covers everything. This imagery is packed with meaning, suggesting not just physical darkness, but a deeper, spiritual darkness engulfing the world. Then, from this smoke, something truly bizarre happens. "And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power." Revelation 9, verse 3. These aren't ordinary locusts like the ones you'd swat away in your garden. These are supernatural creatures with the power to harm. But interestingly, they're instructed not to damage the grass, trees, or any plant life. Instead, their target is very specific. But only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. Revelation 9, verse 4. This distinction makes it clear that these locusts are instruments of divine judgment, targeting only those who oppose God. Now, the description of these locusts gets even wilder. "And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men." Revelation 9, verse 7. Listen to this. Locusts that resemble battle horses equipped with what look like golden crowns, and they even have faces like humans. This isn't something out of a fantasy novel. It's meant to convey the terrifying power and authority these creatures wield. "And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions." Revelation 9, verse 8. The mixed imagery continues with features that combine elements of beauty and ferocity, creating a disturbing visual of what these locusts represent. "And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle." Revelation 9, verse 9. They're not just scary to look at. They're armored for war, and the noise they make is as intimidating as an army charging into battle. "And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. And their power was to hurt men 5 months." Revelation 9, verse 10. The specific mention of the time frame, 5 months, adds a temporal dimension to their torment, emphasizing a period of suffering that has a beginning and an end. This period of divine judgment is intense but limited, reinforcing the theme of God's control over even the darkest times. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name, Apollyon. Revelation 9, verse 11. Unlike earthly locust swarms, which are leaderless, these supernatural locusts are organized and have a ruler, highlighting the structured nature of this divine judgment. Abaddon, or Apollyon, which means the destroyer, signifies the destructive purpose behind their mission. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Revelation 9, verse 12. This statement marks the end of one terrifying event and the ominous promise of more to come. It's like a brief pause in a storm, giving those on earth a moment to brace for what's next. You might be wondering, why all this destruction? Why such vivid and violent imagery? In Revelation, these visions serve as stark reminders of the spiritual warfare ongoing and the reality of divine justice. It's not just about frightening images. It's about understanding the seriousness of turning away from God and the consequences that follow. What's fascinating here is how the biblical text uses these images to communicate a deeper truth. It's not just about the terror. It's about awakening people to the presence of spiritual battles and the need for alignment with divine will. As we reflect on this chapter, it's clear that John's visions are meant to stir, provoke, and also reassure those who are faithful. For those sealed by God, these horrors are not a threat, but a confirmation of God's promise to protect and save those who are His. In the midst of all the chaos described, there's an underlying message of hope and redemption for those who choose to follow God. This is a recurring theme in biblical texts, where the depiction of judgment always accompanies the offer of salvation. Understanding Revelation, especially chapters as dense and symbolic as this, requires us to look beyond the surface and consider the larger narrative of faith, judgment, and redemption. It invites readers to ponder their own spiritual standing and to consider the profound implications of these apocalyptic promises. While the imagery of Revelation 9 is dark and foreboding, it also carries a message of divine sovereignty and ultimate justice. As we move forward, it's worth keeping in mind that these visions, as terrifying as they are, serve a purpose in the biblical narrative, challenging us to reflect on our own lives and the world around us. As we dig deeper into the story of Revelation and the apocalyptic prophecies it contains, it's crucial to keep in mind the structure and organization of the forces at play. Just like the military or any large organization on earth, there's a chain of command in both the realms of heaven and hell. At the top of the evil hierarchy, there's Satan, and directly under him are leaders like Apollyon, who command their own units. This setup helps us visualize the spiritual battlefield as organized and strategic, not just random chaos. Apollyon, who you might also hear called Abaddon, is not just any rank and file demon. He's a top-tier general in this army of darkness. He's specifically tasked with leading a terrifying group that's described in the Bible as locusts. These aren't your garden variety locusts that munch on crops. No, these locusts come from the abyss, a kind of demonic holding pen, and they're here to bring pain, not to plants, but to people. They target those who don't have God's seal on their foreheads, delivering torment rather than death, which is a frightening thought. Now, some people have tried to make sense of these locusts by comparing them to things we're familiar with today, like helicopters or drones. They suggest that John, who wrote Revelation, saw these futuristic machines in his vision and described them the best way he knew how, with the language and images from his own time. It's an interesting idea because it tries to bridge the gap between ancient prophecies and modern technology, showing how timeless these biblical visions can be. However, the traditional interpretation that these locusts are demonic spirits still holds a lot of weight among scholars. This view aligns with the overall theme of Revelation, which isn't just about predicting future tech, but about unveiling the spiritual warfare that underpins human history. These demons, released from the abyss, represent the ongoing battle between good and evil that transcends our physical world. It's also important to remember that Revelation talks about these events as certainties. There's no if or maybe in the prophecies. They're presented as definite future occurrences on God's timeline. The only real mystery is when these events will unfold. This definitive stance is meant to prepare us, not scare us. It's a call to be aware of the spiritual dimensions that influence our world. Understanding these prophecies in the context of a divine plan helps frame history not as a random series of events, but as a moving timeline headed towards a climax foretold by Scripture. This perspective gives believers a sense of purpose and urgency, reinforcing the importance of living in readiness for what's to come. While the imagery of locusts, demons, and apocalyptic battles might seem like something out of a movie, they're part of a much bigger narrative. They remind us that there's more to the world than what we see, and that throughout history, forces of good and evil have been and will continue to be at work, culminating in events that are as real as they are prophetic.